We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the POMcast on this terrific, what is it, Wednesday already? It's already Wednesday? Holy cow. This week is flying by. I'm Stephen Willis. I am the host of the POMcast, and I'm very happy that you have joined us. We're looking at numbers, we're looking at CPU and things, and making sure there's not a problem. We're doing well. All right. I just want to remind everybody about the Vault Society. It is a big push right now by the foundation to donate to Ole Miss. Basically, all gifts to Ole Miss between now and June 30th will receive triple points. What does that mean? Well, you're going to get 3 times credit for it, and you can use it in different ways. Red points are non-deductible and go towards priority seating. Blue points are 90% tax deductible and go towards parking and non-home ticketed games. That'd be postseason, bowl games, neutral site. Like if you go to the Louisville game, this would affect that. The big push right now is for Vault Society Report. That's just a 5-year commitment of support, and that membership starts at $5,000 per year. If you need a benefit chart and see what you can get one at give2athletics.com. That is give2athletics.com. But yesterday was the Ole Miss Day of Giving Day, and also the band is running a fundraiser at the moment. You can look on my Twitter at the Stephen Willis, and I believe it's on the Rebel Walk as well on Twitter. And you can see how to donate to that and see what they have set up, because they're trying to basically make a nice situation for the band to practice on. Their practice fields, they're going to redo the whole thing. We spend so much time paying attention to the football and basketball and baseball facilities. Sometimes we might push back the order of importance to the band and the Rebelettes and things like that. So give them a look as well. That came out yesterday. Anyway, I'm Stephen Willis. You can follow the show and watch it where you are. But we're on Twitter at the Stephen Willis and at the Rebel Walk. If you want to catch us on Facebook, it's facebook.com/POMcast. And if you want to catch us on YouTube, it's Positively Ole Miss. Hit the bell for notifications. You'll always know we're streaming. And you know what we're streaming about, because I try to do a decent job of titling it. And so the notification will come out and you'll say, okay, that's not something I'm really interested in, but it's available for you. So hit the bell, hit all at YouTube. And we're on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all one word. We also have a catch-all for both things, both Ole Miss videos and other, going to Willis Digital Media on YouTube and Twitch. All one word on Twitch, because that's the way they do things. So you can catch us audio-wise at Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. We're also on smaller podcatchers. If I didn't name it, I apologize, but it's a pretty long list. So if basically we are where you are already. We're not asking you to go to a second location. We're not asking you to pay for the content, and we're basically bringing it to you. So that's what we're doing here at Positively Ole Miss. So thank you very much for joining us today. I mean, that's turned into a decent length spill. So I think I pretty well got that nailed down. Ole Miss 13-1 winner over Austin Peay last night. 7-inning game, 10-run rule in effect. Kel Baker 4 for 4, 6 RBIs. Jack Doherty pitched 2 innings of shutout where he didn't give up a hit, struck out 5. He was very dominant. Kind of a surprise star of a midweek. It was fun to see, and it was fun to see Kel Baker's bat wake up a little bit too, with a home run, a double, and 2 singles last night. 6 RBIs, like I said before. But it was a good game. They did what they were supposed to do. I think they scored 3 runs in 4 innings and 1 in another. And if you look at it, they only had 6 batting to where they could do anything. So they only put up a 0 once. 15 hits in 7 innings. Only gave up 4. Only gave up 1 walk after a huge weekend, struggling to find the zone against Arkansas. Only 1 walk this weekend. So that was pretty cool as well. So they were able to get their control back. They maybe found another arm in the bullpen. So that was pretty neat. Moving forward to this weekend, because it's time to do that, Ole Miss at Mississippi State. Kind of a baseball egg bowl game. Changing the rotation. Friday night will be Gunnar Hoagland. Saturday will be Doug Nikhazy. Sunday will be Drew McDaniel. Now, I don't know if that's going to push Dustin Diamond to the midweek starter, which if it is, with his stuff, that's pretty scary for the opponents they're going to face. But him hitting 97 on the gun, that's a pretty big deal. We'll have to see what happens if this was an early hook for Derek Diamond. Drew McDaniel, maybe, he struggled last weekend as well. So, we'll see. Maybe this is going to be a wake-up call of sorts for Drew McDaniel. But regardless, you need to be careful when dealing with rotations because, we obviously flipped Hoagland and Nikhazy, but the injury kind of helped that a little bit. It wasn't necessarily due to any kind of performance thing. And then Sunday coming up, they're just trying to get the rotation where it needs to be. They want it to be as solid as possible, and to be honest, we have a relatively weak non-con coming up, and you have the ability to do stuff like this. And we don't know if Drew McDaniel and this is viewed as more than an opener. We don't know. We'll have to see what it looks like. In the game, I think Mississippi State is 4th. We're down at 6th. If we'd have won one game, if they would have finished when they tied it up at 14, if they'd have went on to win the game, Ole Miss would be number 1 in the country right now. So baseball is kind of a fickle thing, especially with the rankings and everything on these series ebbs and flows. Again, remember, Ole Miss has only put up 1 minus number in their plus minus this year. And they've put up a +3 at this point. So it's +3 -1, so they're +2 at the moment. They're on pace for 17 and 13. They get 1, they're still on pace for 17 and 13. They get it 2, they're +1 for the weekend. So keep that in mind. And you can just, start stacking. And 2-1 this weekend puts them in position for 18 and 12. That's what they did after all the hard part of the schedule and everything's coming up that they're going through right now. They're sitting at 17-13 trending going forward, and win the series, they'd beat 18-12. And that's with LSU, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Vandy coming up. That's the 5 series remaining. The real booger bear will be the Vandy series with Leiter and Rocker and the boys coming to town the second to last weekend of the regular season. But we have, after this Mississippi State series, we have LSU. We have, after that, I think, South Carolina, and after that, Texas A&M. And I need to change that real quick. Just bear with me, because there's a 10 in there that shouldn't be there. So we'll change that. All right. So that's where we're looking at baseball-wise. Ole Miss is in good shape. There's no need to panic. Almost losing the series the way that Ole Miss lost a series to Arkansas is not a reason to panic. If Ole Miss would have played extremely well and as good as they can play and still drop the season, that would be reason to panic. Or series, that would be reason to panic. But losing the series with the way they pitched the ball, I think Game 1 and Game 3, they combined for 27 walks, nearly 2 an inning in Game 3. And they were in both of them, well in, like past the 6th inning. That shows you that Ole Miss actually defeated itself and Arkansas didn't beat them. And you can put that in your bank for what's coming down the road. So that's baseball. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to look at a little bit of spring football. And we're going to do the press conference highlights, and we're going to talk a little bit about standouts and how the defense is like showing itself a little bit. And I'll tell you why that's probably happening when we come back. But stick around. We'll be back in a few minutes.
You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the soft glow just inches away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on, answer it already! Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive. A message from Florida's trusted choice independent insurance agents.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis. I just want you to stick around a little longer. We're going to get back to the podcast right after these messages.
Tonight, nearly 40,000 veterans across the country are homeless. These men and women have pledged to serve our nation, and now we must serve them. Landlords across the country have helped make significant progress in reducing veteran homelessness by making housing available, but there is more that we can do to bring our veterans home. Visit www.va.gov/homeless to see how you can get involved. And if you are a veteran and you are experiencing homelessness, please call 877-4AID-VET. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Having a good show. It's been a lot of fun. Talked a little baseball in segment 1. We're going to talk a little spring football in segment 2. As you can see up there, posted the Grove Bowl, April 24th at 4 p.m. That is 10 days away. The Grove Bowl will be played. Kind of a mid-afternoon thing. Right after it is the softball game against Auburn. I think that one starts at 7. And the lead-in for that is the baseball game, the Game 3 against LSU, which I believe starts at noon. So it's set up to be a big Saturday. But that LSU series will be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So plan accordingly. Also, want to let you know that the folks over at the rebelwalk.com are doing a fantastic job. I mean, they provide a subscriber level experience for no money. Doesn't cost you a thing. All it costs you is your time. So go on over there and you can see the stuff that they are cooking, all the articles they are working on. They're working diligently for that. I think they do play-by-plays during baseball games, things like that. And their personalities are on Positively Ole Miss on this platform quite a bit, talking about what's going on. Like you've seen Chris Muller come on here and we talk about the post-weekend series, which we're going to do again this weekend. And you have that available. They do a fantastic job. Evelyn does a great job over there at the rebelwalk.com. Remember, subscriber level experience for free. All that it costs you is time. Go over there and check them out. It will be well worth your time, and you probably will use them as a primary going forward. So spring practice is moving right along. I think Ole Miss is, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday. So they've got about 4 more practices before the Grove Bowl. And one thing is absolutely clear, and that is the defense is making a lot more explosive plays. They're making more plays, period. And the reason for that is simple. Well, if you take away the fact that there's a little bit of a base now that they would have gotten last spring, thanks to the last football season, but also new players are dotting that secondary and allowing them to play things a little bit differently. Now, you added Jake Springer, who was an all-conference player from the American Conference over at Navy. I think he had 10 sacks. He played the equivalent of that star position in their defense. So, as you can see, there's probably a nice transition for him at Ole Miss. Otis Reese, went through the fall, got some game experience. He's probably locked down that strong safety position, opposite of Jacob Springer, because those two can play all kinds of games based off of what they're doing, because both of them are line of scrimmage type players. Both of them are real physical, and they can also cover a little bit too. So that increases the versatility of what your defense can do. You're not so pigeonholed into what you're doing by personnel. So they are starting to evolve out of that 2019 3-4 and the way they did things. Now, that was fine. It was perfectly acceptable the way they played, but there's a little bit of difference in what we do now. So those type players are going to struggle in this type defense. And at free safety, I've been hearing that Keydron Smith is playing some free safety, and the other person back there is A.J. Finley. So that adds competition and depth at that position as well. So that's back 3 of the safety positions all have competition. And then you add players like Tysheem Johnson, and it's in as good a shape as it's been in several years, honestly, in the back 7. And if you look at the defensive line, by all accounts, Jamon Gordon and Isaiah Iton are having an effect on that defensive line. And basically what needs to happen on that defensive line, because we're developed on the back end and we're building up on the front of the defense, is we need 2 double teams. That's really what we need. And that will allow our defense to wreak havoc with defense and blitzes and cause the offensive line a good deal of trouble. 2 double teams. And in 3-4, which basically, I think our front is probably closer to a 3-4 than a 4-3. But in the old style 3-4, like the old Bill Parcells 3-4, there were space eaters that play that nose guard. And the nose guard is designed to take up blockers. And what that means is force a double team between a center and a guard. And if you can get another one, that's going to open up what your linebackers can do and where they can flow. Well, with us having Sam Williams, he takes up a double team. If we can get one more, all of a sudden those that star position, that strong safety position, can cause all kind of problem with blitz schemes, because the blockers are predetermined to double so many people. There's only so many blockers. That also keeps people out of the pass route. You have to cover, and it's just better. Your secondary is going to be better whenever they don't have as long to have to cover. The shorter it is, the easier it is to lock them up one-on-one. So that's what we're looking at. Notice I didn't even mention the linebackers. Those are two players that they're going to do fill, and we're going to have like Chance Campbell and heck, Mark Robinson got another mention at a press conference. That's 2 this year. So it's worth being, aware of what's going on. But now remember, all these skill players are out. No Jerry and Ely. Mingo and Sanders have been out. I mean, it's provided opportunities for others to step up, but it's not the same team out there that will be there in the fall. So just be wary of that. But there are many, many positive signs that you can take. Basically, from the spring practice so far. Let's go ahead and do press conference highlights. It's Lane Kiffin and the boys talking a little bit about yesterday's practice.
So we're back to work today, and then another scrimmage Saturday, and then the spring game, which we're excited about for that weekend of baseball going on, a lot of energy around. So we'll be good for finally things to be opened up. This is a while back. It was only quarterbacks basically. Now it's over half your class. So it's just kind of become, the norm. It's great for kids, like I've always said, to get the practices in and get the academic part in. So, it's almost impossible to be a quarterback and be ready to play without it anymore. Yeah, we are hoping for that to happen. And that would be huge, obviously. It's very hard to sign players and get the best ones without being able to evaluate. It's as I used to say, the camp eval in some positions is more important than their game tape. Working with them and seeing how they do your stuff. So that would be great to have.
Overall, I feel like the whole D-line is improving. I'm proud of us. We just got to continue to be consistent and bring more energy. Isaiah and Jamon, they're good players. Isaiah's pretty strong. Jamon has pretty strong hands. And we're just bringing them all together and just being a brotherhood.
I believe that I'm growing to be better and better. I remember last year just sitting back watching, especially Kenny, Casey, everybody like that, just growing, developing, trying to learn as much as I can to be as best as I can be. And as far as right now, I'm having a really good spring, doing what I can, just following coach's orders, making sure I'm getting everything done.
I can. We've talked about that before. As you look at transfers, not just the player, but where they came from, the system that they're in, and that a lot of times has to do with whether they can come in and play early. Much like NFL people look at certain college teams and programs and say there's going to be an easier transition than others. So he's been great. We're going to try not to bring very many. We just rather have that in the fall, with the game atmosphere. And but we understand there'll have to be some, and it may be early in the month, maybe late, just depends on when we get them.
The plays, the plays. When you know the plays, you have confidence, and you're able to improve and just be disruptive.
I mean, it was just a regular day at practice. It was good energy, going through it. Everybody's head was where it needed to be. It was just really a freak accident. Just really glad to be able to keep doing the things that I love.
It's open. So, I think once baseball is open, I think everybody figured we were, and I've not heard any different. So it's going to be open. So we're back to work today, and then another scrimmage.
All right, Lane Kiffin, DeMarcus Thomas, and KD Hill talking a little bit about spring practice at this point. rotated and looped a little bit before it went to the second shot, which I need to check on that as well. But basically, Ole Miss is in position to where they can recruit. As you heard in that press conference, the recruiting dead period is supposed to end June 1st, so that's a birthday present to me. I'm just kidding. But basically, players are it's going to be very hectic going around to schools. There's going to be a fight to get people on your campus the first time. And he was talking about setting it up to, I don't know, the fall, then the game atmosphere and things like that. And that's going to be interesting to see. I think I saw the University of Florida is basically all booked up at this point for the month of June with official visitors. So they're going to bring people to your campus. Now we're going to have to wait and see what that means for camps. If you can have camps, if that's normal, I mean, if you can do all that, great. But I think we need to kind of see what that means, because camps are an underappreciated part of recruiting. We didn't even have them last year. But whenever you see people going through your drills, as Lane says, your stuff, it really solidifies what you saw on film. So basically, you have 20 players that you really like on film. Let's say 3 of them are guaranteed offers. We want them right now regardless. But for 17 of them, they look good and they're trending well, but they need to come and be seen doing Ole Miss specific stuff within the system before an offer is generated. So that's what people need to realize. In 2019, going back a couple of classes ago, whenever John Rice and Jerry Neely came in, there were offers that were put out basically off of the camp. If you remember that June, there was like 15 commitments during the month of June. Now, some coaches are going to do commitments. Some people won't otherwise. Lane obviously is a very laid-back guy. But keep an eye on what's going on. Keep an eye on who's committing, and keep an eye on, more importantly, who's not committing. I do believe that this year Ole Miss will struggle to find a quarterback because of the rumors for next year. So understand that. They all talk. It's all going together. I mean, you can't really trust what's being said at this point, and it doesn't really mean anything at this point. But things like players not committing at a certain position will let you know that somebody in the grapevine, word is getting out to look for those guys there. So just understand that it's not necessarily at this point looking at the 2023 class as a whole, but the 2023 class can affect the 2022 class if they are nervous about what's coming down the pipe. That's one of the reasons I do not expect him to do anything one way or another before signing day. Because there's a domino effect that happens in college sports, and this is just what we built. But I think I'm going to give you a couple of minutes back. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with more great Ole Miss news. Not good, great, fantastic. And until then, I just want to tell everybody, hotty toddy.